Hello and welcome to Let's Read the Owen Saga, Owen the Barbarian, Part 2, A Prince's Peril. I felt there was enough interest in last video to do this again. I had a couple of people watch the entire thing. A couple of you were a little bit, well, you know, maybe a little bit too much, but just feel this is a good way to rediscover this kind of thing, and I would read it by myself anyway, so... Plus, nobody's actually forcing people to watch this, so for those of you who do, then please enjoy. I hope that this video won't be as long as last time, so I'm just going to get right in there. With A Prince's Peril, Chapter 1. Undead are unliving, unliving are undying, undying are undead. That's alright, I don't think I'll be using that very often, but, you know, the chapters are all just have these weird quotes on them that I decided to do for no reason. And so, I don't know, like, that's alright I suppose, but obviously it'll be an undead sort of thing going on. So here we go, okay. The cavern was cold, a chill to strike fear into all those who serve good. Again, it's like good's like this entity that you serve, you know, like, I suppose it's like the Force and the light side and the dark side, but this is just good. This is the good people. But yeah, it's a cold, evil chill that's in this cavern, obviously. The torches had just begun to show the great size of the place. The underground cave had been there for centuries. It was a place of evil. In case we didn't know, the sides and roof were totally covered with skulls, not all human, and the tiles on the floor were made of crushed bones, dyed with blood. Okay, I get the idea this place is evil. I didn't have to point that out. At one end of the cave was an arch, which was not natural. It had been made with pickaxes and shovels, and the arch led into a maze of tunnels where evil things dwelt. In case you know, there's like the world of happy bunnies outside. At the other end was a throne of black jet, a mineral thought almost lost. The throne would be worth a king's fortune, but money does not matter in the chamber of skulls. The figure on the throne was once a man, but now his flesh rotted away. He is a skeleton. Kind of see where I'm going with this. You know, it's a horrible, evil, underground cavern with skulls everywhere and made of crushed bones and stuff. Not particularly well written, obviously, but you know, I was 15. His bones are not white, but burned and blackened, for he is old and he had died more than once. He is dressed in black armor made from a metal unknown to man. It twists and turns around his body as if it is fixed to him. By his side, a broadsword, black in colour to match its surroundings, but with a strange emblem on it which magically glows red. Some good stuff in here, but yeah, obviously it's all very crude. The sword has served the undead lord well, he thought, as he looked down at it through his empty sockets, and it would cleave many more heads off before its time was over. He recalled the time when he had slain the elven army at Jolth almost single-handed, and when he had killed the dwarven king Obol III at the Pass of Death, far to the south, and how he had made the dwarf suffer before he died. He remembered how he had led the army of skeletons against the halflings and routed them. Oh, good, halflings, yeah, big wow, you beat halflings. And how the human assassin Jatin had managed to slay him the next day with the bow of Lauren, again just taken straight out of Warhammer, in the Battle of Duncrack. But he had come back and got his revenge years later. Well, Arkan had, or the... and how Arkan the Black... Oh, okay, right. But that was decades ago, and now Arkan the Black is almost forgotten in the land of the living. He had found that the living had courage, and not as easy to kill as 200 years ago. This entire paragraph, just delete it. None of it is needed. Maybe, okay, we got his name, Arkan the Black, again, straight after bloody Warhammer. You know, he's forgotten in the land of the living. That's all you need to put, really. All this, you know, we kind of get this guy's a big deal because he's sat in the chamber of skulls on a throne of black jet with a, you know, rune blade. We kind of get he's a big deal. We don't have all this arbitrary history that probably doesn't have any bearing on anything from now on. I guarantee it. That's just all gone now. He had given up trying to rule the land by force now. Instead, he used cunning. He knew that every land has a king, and that a king was brought about by a royal family. All he had to do was to make someone in line for the throne follow him, and when he ruled, when that guy ruled, he would have power over the king who would followed him. Okay, he would turn the next in line for the throne into a vampire and reward him with blood. He would have to be a vampire, for vampires are the only undead to look much like a human. The humans must not know his plans until, of course, it is too late. This is terrible. This is freaking awful. I hope it gets a bit better. Like the last book, the first book, obviously, like when I sat down and started writing it, I was really trying, and so like I really put my heart into it. And this is the obligatory sequel. I'm just kind of like, it's a sequel that nobody asked for, and there are 2 more after this. But yeah, this is pretty awful. So he's going to turn basically a prince, I think, because we've got Prince's Peril as the title, into a vampire, and because the vampire will be his thrall, or just bound to him. Essentially, Arkan will be able to rule the kingdom. Now, in essence, that's a good idea. I quite, right, if that's the plot, that could work. But I somehow doubt that I'll be able to. I mean, I don't remember anything about this story. The first story I did, because I've taken elements of it and taken it into my later works. But this and everything beyond it now, I have no idea what happens. Not a clue. I know 1 or 2 very vague details, but nothing. So I'm interested to know where I'm going with this, though I bet you it's freaking terrible. So his plan is to turn the prince into a vampire, and the humans must not know his plans until, of course, it is too late. I mean, or at all. They don't need to know, I suppose, but, anyway. And so so he's actually done this. And so he set about putting his plan into action, finding out that the king's cousin, Manfred, was next in line for the throne. Okay, so why not a son? I don't know. Anyway, a cousin. Okay. Then transforming Manfred into a vampire. Oh, it's done. Oh, he's well on his Manfred, of course, isn't a very vampiric name, is it? No, it's Manfred. Then transforming so he's done it. So Manfred's a vampire. Okay. Then he tried to poison the king. Okay. But the king's doctors were on hand, and although they managed to prolong his death, though that was good of them, they didn't manage to stop it. So basically, he's hanging on. That's not particularly well written either. Then something went wrong. Okay, so basically, he's done his plan as I can. He's got Manfred to be a vampire. Why not just wait? I mean, this guy is obviously over 200 years old anyway. So, I mean, why not just wait another 30 years or whatever for the king to die, if that, and then suddenly, boom, I mean, just patience, man. Patience. But, alright, so, he's tried to poison the king through unknown means. Or maybe Manfred tried to poison the king. I don't know, but the king... Okay, so the king's doctors have saved him for now. Then something went wrong. Then something went wrong. A servant found that Manfred was a vampire. When Manfred refused to eat some garlic he was served. Oh, okay, so in this universe, if you don't like garlic, you're suddenly a vampire. It's like, what, you don't like garlic? Evil! Slay them! This was tried to be kept a secret from Manfred, but he soon found out. Not soon enough, while Manfred did not know that his identity was known, a massive search had begun to find a new heir to the throne. It was said that the king's only child died at birth. Oh, there we go. But in reality, he was taken by the gods as a punishment for a wrongdoing to his people. The search was... well, if he was taken by the gods, you wouldn't be able to find it. So the king didn't have a son. But it was taken by the gods as a punishment for a wrongdoing to his people. So the king did a wrongdoing to his people, and so the gods took his only child. Again, that could work if it wasn't written in such a terrible way. The search was unsuccessful, but in a last-ditch attempt, the royal priests begs the gods to return the prince. The gods returned the 18-year-old. Why don't we just ask him? Why did you look for him when you knew where he was? And, this is the first chapter. The gods returned the 18-year-old who had lived a life of luxury, for the gods did not want the land overcome by evil. Okay, so obviously this guy's been living with the gods, and obviously, you know, doing quite well for himself. Would that make him slightly resentful? It's like, hell no, I want to stay here, guys. Okay, so he's 18. All right. The prince did not stay with his father long, for as soon as Manfred learned of what happened, he kidnapped the prince, Imric, again, and a Warhammer name, whose name means godlike. Oh Christ! Can we just start over? Can we just like not have this as the first chapter? I mean, I would like to have not read this to see if the. Never mind. Okay. So, what the hell? What the hell? So, I mean, okay, so in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chapters, okay, okay, alright, so, no, here, it's in this is 3 paragraphs. We have the king's cousin turn into a vampire. The king is poisoned, but saved temporarily, so the king is going to die. And then Manfred is ousted as a vampire, but Manfred doesn't know this. He doesn't know that people know he's a vampire. Because people know he's a vampire, why don't they just kill him? Why don't they... But, no, they have to go and find another... Are they obliged to have him as leader of the kingdom, as the king, even though they know he's a vampire? If that's the case, then why bother with this until his plans is too late? But okay, so I guess so. I guess they're obliged to have Manfred as king, despite they know if he's a vampire or not. So because of this, right? Okay, massive search had begun to find the new heir from the throne. It was said that the king's only child had died at birth, but he had been taken by the gods as a punishment for wrongdoing to his people. So they look for him, they can't find him, but he'd been taken by the gods anyway. So they ask the gods for him back, and the gods oblige because they don't want the land overcome by evil. So they return the prince, but then Imric kidnaps the... Why don't you just kill him? Why don't you just kill him? Typical villain. Just like, why kidnap him? What's the point? Just kill him, and, you know, then you're done. Then you're king. Now the king lays down his head, and the prince is lost, doomed to become a vampire. Okay, so he's going to be a vampire as well. Manfred will not rule the land, because if Imric's around, he will rule the land. If we're all, like, getting technical here, Imric will rule the land, not Manfred. So that's more reason for Manfred to want to kill him. And Arkan the Black will rule Manfred. Nothing, or Imric. Nothing can be done. There you go. The humans could, however, launch a foolish rescue attempt, but they were more than prepared for that. This is, of course, Arkan thinking something about. Okay. In the Chamber of Skulls, Arkan the Black's laughter rang loud and long. Is Arkan's name changed? No. Okay. I thought I spelled it different. Alright, chapter 2. So that's the first chapter. Be careful what you say, for your life may be at stake. That sucks. This entire thing sucks. I haven't made much headway, I know. But, I mean, Jesus Christ, man. Okay. Alright, we're back to Owen. So, maybe now that we've got the exposition out the way, which is incredibly badly done, then, okay, alright, I think I've got what's going on. Okay, the capital was a huge city, about a mile across, which was in those days would be quite big. It was a sprawling mass of buildings which were spread all over the land, Owen thought as he rode down the sloping hillside towards it. His gold had run out on the weeks on the road. After the siege of Haleport, he had spent the gold that he was rewarded with on weapons and on a great back stallion which he rode. He called the horse Midnight because of its colour. Yes, we get it. You don't have to say because of its colour, because we know it's black and Midnight's... It was a fine steed, strong and fast. He had seen it well fed at the various inns they had stopped at. See, these are details that I like. And at each inn he had stopped at, he had asked where the Skaven assassin Deathmaster Snitch was, because, of course, this is the whole crux of the story, is after that. Many had heard of the Skaven assassin, but none knew where he was, or wanted to know, for Snitch was the most feared of all Skaven. But Owen did not feel fear now, only hatred for the Deathmaster, the killing of his brother. Fair enough. As he rode through the gate, he noticed how many guards were about. He had heard rumours that the king was ill, but he did not understand why more guards were posted. Then one of the guards stopped him. "Mercenary," said the guard. It was more of a statement than a question. Owen nodded. "If it's work you are looking for, then follow me," said the guard, and he turned and began walking down the street. Owen needed gold, but he had to work for it. He's just going to blunder into this rescue attempt, isn't he? But he had to work for it, though he did not know what work it would be. Obviously, he dismounted and followed the guard, leaving Midnight behind him. The guard led him into a large house. His horse was taken by a small boy to whom Owen gave a gold piece to ensure that Midnight would be warm and comfortable. Okay. The house had only one large room on its ground floor, with stairs leading up and also leading down to the cellars. There was a large, not much of a house then, is it? There was a large table at the centre of the room with chairs around it. I'm just like, okay, so it just goes in. I don't really care what this is, okay? It's just, there's a table and chairs and he sits there. That's basically what I'm getting at. I don't care about anything else. Upon some of the chairs sat figures from all different races: a dwarf, a hobbit, and a halfling. A guard motioned Owen to Owen to sit down, which he did, taking off his broadsword and laying it down in front of him on the table. He had other weapons, here we are with the equipment list. He had other weapons: a longbow strapped around his chest, a quiver of arrows, a dagger, 2 throwing daggers in his boots, and a short sword by his side. Okay, that's quite a lot. He was dressed in chain mail, but did not cover his arms, which left them free. He wore leather leggings, and his boots were calf-high. He wore no helm. Alright, so I spend more time talking about what Owen's wearing and his equipment than where he is. "And who are you?" asked the dwarf from the other end of the table. "I am Owen," he answered. "What am I supposed to do?" "I don't know," shouted the dwarf. "We're in the same boat as you, looking for gold, come here, taken to this house, and told to sit down." Owen first thought that the dwarf was some kind of mage, but he remembered that dwarves hate magic, so what happened to him was to also happen to the dwarf. God's sakes. "Not all of us, Sven," said a female voice behind Owen. The barbarian turned around and his eyes widened. He was staring at a fairy, one of the mythical creatures thought extinct. Well, how can there be? There's a fairy in the city, but, so almost extinct, yeah, but not extinct. "We are not all extinct, Owen," said the fairy. But he didn't, there's nothing. And Owen realized that the fairy had read his thoughts. He also remembered that what his father said, that his know everything. Yes, he also remembered that his father said that fairies know everything. Yeah, okay. He also remembered, he didn't remember anything else. How could he also remember something when it's the first thing he remembers? "Not everything," said the fairy, "for we cannot see into the future, but you can read minds." Okay, fairies can read minds. "Then what are we doing here?" asked a lice voice. Owen saw it was the halfling who spoke. "A terrible thing is before the land," said the fairy, "and you complete strangers, rather than the entire army of guards that we are outside, will be chosen to do it. The king has been poisoned. His son, the heir to the throne, is being captured, and so when the king dies, the people will be ruled by Manfred, the king's cousin, until the prince Imric is found." I'm assuming that you know that that Imric is in the thrall of Arkan, and therefore, because he stole the son, the prince, wouldn't that make him sort of ineligible to rule? "What's so bad about Manfred?" asked Owen. "He's a vampire," replied the fairy, "and he serves Arkan." Okay, so they do. "I have heard of him," said a small female voice. It was the hobbit, the only person who hadn't spoken since the guard left. The tales told about him can be used to frighten children into being good. "Be good, serve good." "Yes," said the fairy, "he is one of the most powerful undead lords." "And what's this got to do with us?" asked the dwarf. "I am the king's servant," the fairy said, "and he has asked us to find a team of worthy heroes to rescue the prince, Imric." "Nope," said Sven the dwarf, "it is no concern of mine. I have no wish to go risking my neck for some prince." "And reward them," finished the fairy, hovering just above Owen's head. That's quite disconcerting. Oh, she's not wearing a skirt. "Reward them with gold." Ah, of course, the gold. The dwarf scratched his long grey beard. Oh, very well. You've convinced me. Okay, she doesn't say how much gold. Obviously, it's implied it's a lot, but I'm sure a dwarf would be more savvy than that. But apparently not. The halfling spoke. I fought Archons undead before. He said. Many years. Is the halfling a guy or a girl? I know. I said. Hang on. The dwarf's talking there. There's the fairy. The halfling. It's just a light voice. It doesn't... Okay, just because it was light voice, I assumed it was female, but never mind. So where the hell are we? Sorry. The halfling... I've fought Archons undead before, he said, many years ago. I will go, for he killed all of my friends that day. Oh, there we go. I did try with the... Destroyed the halflings. So... But that was over 200 years ago, wasn't it? So... Alright. Maybe it was a different halfling army or group that he slew. Because, you know, halfling... You gotta have a hobby, halfling slaying. Thank you, said the fairy. I have no mind for adventuring, said the hobbit woman. But when you asked me to help you, Eowyn... She looked at the fairy. Eowyn? Elion. I thought that we would be practicing magic together. And so we shall, Elion glided over to the hobbit. So we shall. Very well, said the hobbit, for this is my home, and I do not want it to fall into the grip of the undead. The fairy turned to Owen. What of you, Owen of the mighty Owen of the south? Owen sighed. This is not my land. I have no concern here. I can find gold easier ways, but you could reward me for going, wherever we are going, in some other way. Okay. I love the double ellipses there. You want to know where Deathmaster Snitch is? Oh, well, she knows everything. You could just beat it out of her. You know, just give her... No, I guess that's not going to happen. Owen nodded. I'm sorry, Owen, but Snitch wears the Cloak of Shadows, a magical cloak which hides its wearer from the powers of magic. However, there is another way. Okay, so she can't find it because of... Oh, well, that's fair enough. This cloak suddenly, like, appeared. I don't remember wearing a cloak before, but he's wearing a cloak now. Also, the Cloak of Shadows, yeah, straight from Warhammer. Deathmaster Snitch wore the Cloak of Shadows. However, there's another way to find him, and it will take many days. If you go, I swear that the wizards back at the palace will find him before we return. Owen knew that fairies never lie. Is that something he remembers as well, or his dad knew? Very well, he said, I will help. So there you go. Within like 3 sentences, we've hired these adventurers to save the kingdom. We don't know who they are, or you know, they don't know each other. There's no real details or anything. We're just going to go save the king from the undead lord. Here we go. It's so... Okay. Very short, chapter 3. Going, always going, then one day gone. Very poignant. They were an odd group. Owen, a giant of the man, 6 foot 3 inches tall, 250 pounds. Blimey. A great swordsman and archer, but nobody would have thought that. Why not? Why would nobody have... But nobody would have thought that. There is... Why? Where's that come from? Is a 603 inch... You know... 6 foot 3 inch, 250 pound barbarian with a sword? You think he's going to be half decent? Nobody would have... Okay, fine. Also, he's a good archer, and that's new. He's never fired a bow before, but... He's got one, I suppose. Okay. There is Sven the dwarf. He is dressed in chainmail, as with Owen, but his suit is much smaller. Sven, who is short even for a dwarf, has a small crossbow and a battle axe, magical rules along the blade, because I love equipment. He has long grey hair and also a beard and moustache. Very little of his gnarled old face is showing, but he has 2 sharp green eyes looking out. Then there is Bobbin the halfling. He dresses in bright colours, his bald head wearing a headband with a short sword by his side. He also carries a short... But he sounds rubbish. Why the hell are we bringing Bobbin? You know, yeah, all your mates died, but, you know, fighting him. And you obviously did nothing. And now why are you here, Bobbin? Also, there's Iowyn the Hobbit, rumoured to be one of the finest mages in the land. There we're talking about. Owen had learned that she eats almost all the time. Hobbit. Cannot fight. Okay, maybe not bring her then. Never drinks alcohol. Cannot fight. She dresses in dark colours, mostly brown, so she can hide away when necessary. Finally, there is Eowyn, the fairy. She is fully dressed in pink and radiates a pink glow around her, which can easily be seen in darkness. So we got one who tries to hide away and one who glows pink. I'm not sure how those two are going to mix. She stands only a foot tall, but a wingspan of 16 inches could carry her far and fast over long distances. So Owen had heard. She is the last of her kind. There you go. The only person to know fairy magic, which Owen had heard to be very powerful indeed. Yeah, just hears these things. They set off one fine morning, fed and refreshed, with the birds singing and the dew glistening on the grass. The 5 of them in good spirit prepared for the long journey to Arcan's lair. At least they know where he is. I suppose Eowyn will know everything. But then, of course, she would know that Manfred's a vampire if she was around, so it didn't take so it wouldn't have taken the garlic thing to find out, and also they wouldn't have had to look for the son, Imric, because she would have known that the gods, because she knows everything. She knows. You got a person who knows everything. You know how powerful that is? Like, you would have known that Arcan was planning this. So, makes no sense. And this chapter is basically just to say, alright, there's these 5 people. Here's his description of them. That's a chapter. Chapter 4. Magic. Sometimes useful, sometimes not. They arrived at midday. It was... the long journey, was that, like 6 hours? I suppose it's not that long, is it? Not in those terms. So the Manfred's lair is 6 hours away from the capital. I'm just getting on with that. I'm just like, yeah, so they get there, okay? I'm in such a hurry. Like, okay, so this is the setup in one chapter, and then we need to get them on the quest. That's another chapter, and then, okay, now they're here. It was what Owen expected, a cave leading down into danger. Each of them carried torches, matches, candles, chalk, salted meat, bread, and rope. Again, equipment. That's quite a good list, though, I suppose. If any of you wish to turn back now, you still may. That's good of her. Bobbin and Arwen looked nervous. Owen and Sven looked into the inky blackness. Nobody moved or said anything. There is a fine line between bravery and foolishness, and I think we all have crossed... Yeah, I think the entire kingdom's sending 5 people to save the kingdom. When there's an army, there's guards everywhere. They send 5 people who nobody knows. Well, I think, Arwen and Ilion are kind of buddies. I'm not sure. But the fairy went first into the darkness. She carried nothing. Even a candle was too much for her, but she generated her own light. They creeped into the passage. How can you creep when you've got a great big pink blowy ball in front of you, which sloped down the cliff face? There's a cliff now, okay. Again, just get on with it. Owen was second, followed by Erwin and Bobbin. The dwarf Sven... Why do I keep referring to him as a dwarf? I know he's a dwarf. Taking the rear guard. It wasn't long before the passageway levelled again, and then ended at a crossroads. It's best not to split up, said Bobbin. It's true. Yes, said Owen, we'll mark the way with chalk. Ilion floated to the ground. I sense great evil ahead, she said, and Imric. You should know where he is. You know everything. Bobbin drew a small chalk arrow on the wall near the floor, and they went straight on. A few hundred yards down the passage, water started to seep from the ceiling and walls. I hate water, said Sven. Where is it coming from? Asked Erwin, to nobody in particular. Above us, hundreds of yards up, is a freshwater lake. The water is seeping from that, answered Ilion. So we can drink it? Asked Owen. I wouldn't advise it. Why would you... I suppose what you didn't bring is any bloody bread and rope. You didn't bring any water, did you? So, yeah. So we can drink it? Asked Owen. I wouldn't advise it running through this place of evil, but... Ilion couldn't finish because there was a low rumbling. A rumbling that got louder and louder until it seemed as though it was all around them. What is that? Asked Bobbin. What's that? His question was soon answered as the walls started to collapse. Part of the wall started to collapse. From the holes that were created, undead creatures began to pour out. Skeletons, their eyes, pools of deep red. Zombies, the stench of their decaying bodies, filled the passageway, hitting the 5 heroes like a sledgehammer. Mummies, their moans of torment echoing around the corridor. Owen drew his sword, attacking the nearest zombie. A hand flew off, followed quickly by its head. Sven cleaved the skeletons in half with a single swipe, and Owen sent another crashing back against the wall with a spell. Bobbin was being strangled by a mummy, but within seconds his attacker, bloody Bobbin, was turned to dust by Elwyn's magic. Cool. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Owen wasted no time into getting into the... He already is! Bones and black blood were everywhere. He saw Owen run off down the corridor, panic-stricken, and how she was cut in two by a skeleton scythe. Wow. So Owen's just dead. Alright, Bobbin drew his sword and shot Owen's killer, and then Owen quickly realised there was... Yes, just bloody surrounded! Then he found that he was facing a mummy. Before he could react, his undead opponent had pushed him back against the wall. As he struck it, the wall collapsed, and Owen found himself falling down a chasm. Blimey, he lost his sword, and he tried to grab a small ledge, but he only managed to scrape the skin off his hand. Now he could see the water at the bottom. He straightened his body, hoping the water was deep. He plunged into the water. It was icy cold, and the shock knocked the breath out of him. When he tried to swim to the surface, he couldn't, as the weight of his chain mail was dragging him into the murky depths. Underwater, he drew his short sword. Oh, good thing he had that. Cut the string of his bow around his chest and slipped out of the armour and surged to the top, a red haze before his eyes. He broke the surface of the water and he gasped for air. He wore nothing under his chafing under his chainmail, and the icy water was quickly freezing his skin. He looked up and saw a bank and immediately headed for it, heaving himself up onto the rocks. He lay there for a moment, catching his breath. Then he realised that the air had an icy chill to it and that his joints were freezing to the air. He had to make a fire, and quick. He felt his belt. Thank God he still had his leather pouch. He prayed that his leather pouch was waterproof. What? I think it will be. He opened it and found his matches. They were not all wet. Okay. Now all he needed was something to burn. His breath became hurried as he looked around his surroundings. He saw that he was in a cavern with a great lake stretching for the... So there's a lake under and a lake over this place. He was on a ledge of rock within a tunnel with a tunnel leading back into the tunnels that he had come from, he presumed. He looked up and saw a hole through which he had fallen. He also saw that the cavern was open to the sky. He saw daylight in what seemed like an age. To his relief, he saw that the walls were covered in vines and creepers. He gathered them up and lit a fire in the on the shallow-looking bank. Shallow-looking bank? He didn't want to go back into the tunnels until he was good and ready. That was not easy to read. But okay, I get what happened. At least I know what happened in all that. I mean, that's something. So he's been separated, falls down, lands in an icy lake, gets out, strips off, obviously, you know, gets out and makes a fire, basically. Many hours... Okay, I'm going to get me ahead of myself. Chapter 5. Skill and strength. Weak part, powerful together. Well, I don't think strength is weak. I think, by definition, strength is the opposite of weak. But I get what you're going there, but again... Decent sort of, like, idea, poorly executed. I think that sort of sums this entire thing up so far. Many hours passed in the timeless abyss, which was Arkan the Black's lair. Owen had walked the deserted passages and empty corridors trying to find a way out. More than once he had come to a dead end. His chalk had nearly run out by the time... Okay, so he's still got his chalk as well. He finally entered the most evil place he had ever known. For all his 29... we have an age for him. And it's written in numbers rather than words. But okay, for all his 29 years, he had never seen nor imagined a place so horrific. He stood at the end of a vast chamber. Don't describe the whole thing again. By the light of his burning torch, he could make out rows of skulls on the walls. The floor was blood red. A few feet away from... Okay, so that was okay because, you know, I know where he is. I didn't go into the whole thing again. So he's there. I mean, we got it, okay? We got this. A few feet away from him was a table. The carvings showing battles which were long forgotten. A few feet away from him was a table, the carvings showing battles which were long forgotten. The carvings on the table? But it was what was on the table that Owen looked at. It seemed to be a man dressed in obviously once fine clothing, but were now dirty and worn. It was undoubtedly Imric. Oh, we found him! We found Imric. Owen took a step forwards towards Imric to free him. Then he noticed that there was another figure in the room, blimey. The barbarian saw that he wore the same robes as Imric. But was... he was a man, but his skin was white. Yep, lots of men's... I guess you mean really pale. You know, like it was white. 'Cause it's not uncommon. He held a two-handed axe. Owen recognized it. How do you recognize him, Manfred? How do you recognize... You don't even know what he looks like. So how do you... You've never even met this person, so I recognized him. Like, Manfred. The vampire looked at the bare-chested giant. I don't know how you got in here, he growled, but you aren't going to get out again. With that, Owen drew his short sword and dagger and watched as Manfred ran towards him. Okay, so Manfred is a vampire with a great big two-handed axe. Owen is unarmored with a short sword and a dagger, neither of which he's ever really used before, but here we go. As the axe descended, Owen rolled, and a great clang rang out through the hall as the axe struck the bone tiles. Oh, the tiles now. Manfred turned, and the axe turned with him in a long, low swipe. Owen only had time to jump an inch above the blade that would have taken his feet off. Okay. I mean, I've always been reasonably good at action bits, I suppose. You know, it tends to flow a little bit better. My turn, said Owen. Again, maybe not the dialogue. Bit cheesy. My turn, said Owen. He quickly stabbed the vampire in the forearm and backed away. The vampire seemed not to feel it. Again, yeah, Owen's kind of screwed here. I don't care how much he stabs this thing. Yeah, you know, it'd be through the heart, won't it, of course. Your turn to die, he cried. The vampire, his axe shot up. Yeah, the vampire. Yeah, that your turn to die, he cried. Manfred cried. His axe shot up. Owen dived backwards, avoiding the fatal blow, but losing his footing, falling on the bone floor. He saw the axe just in time and rolled aside. Feeling vibrations of the axe struck the tile where he was. He rolled again, and the same thing happened, although this time he lost some skin from his back to the massive... Blimey, that was close. Oh, so he's lost some skin on his hand and on his back. Keep still, keep still, shouted Manfred. Owen saw his opportunity and launched a high kick. How? He's lying on the floor. How the hell does you launch a high kick when you're lying on the floor, rolling around, trying to avoid an axe? I just see Manfred, you know, just like going clang, 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 and Owen comically rolling out the way every time. But yeah, he's launched a high kick, which caught the vampire on the chin, that was athletic, sending him sprawling across the chamber. As Owen began to get up, he pulled a dagger from his right boot and hurled it at Manfred. The dagger sank deep into Manfred's calf. By the time the vampire had pulled the dagger out, Owen was towering over him with the axe. The axe descended. Owen walked over to the table and saw... that doesn't really work. Okay, the axe descended, so I guess that Manfred can't dodge, you know. I mean, Owen's dodged at least 3 times, but Manfred's just like, no. And he didn't even feel the dagger in his calf, but again, it's the whole dagger throwing the dagger thing. He's not going to retrieve his dagger. He always retrieves his daggers as well. But yeah, okay, so he's beaten Manfred. Manfred is dead. So, well done, Owen. We're in chapter 5 and Manfred's dead. Where, by the way, where is Arkan? Although I think I might fight him next year, but that's only chapter 6. So where the hell is Arkan? Anyway, Owen walked over to the table and saw Imric was unconscious. Wouldn't you see that first? He emptied some of the water out of his flask. He's got a flask! Onto the prince's face. Immediately Imric woke. Who are you? Asked Imric. Owen. Did my father send you? In a way. No, he did. I mean, obviously... Okay. He brought the ropes with his hands. Yeah, because he's just like... Ksh. I mean, I could use the axe or a dagger, you know, but I'll just break the ropes with my hands because I'm that freaking awesome. I'm so in love with this character now, aren't I? I'm just like, yeah, so, you know, he's just rolling out the way of these axes, you know, and just launches a high kick and throws a dagger and then chops his head off and then breaks ropes with his hands. Come, we must find a way out. I know the way, said Imric. He rose. Owen, that's handy. Owen took one of the torches from the chamber, picked up his daggers. There you go! And dagger, and they left. Owen carrying the giant axe, which rather suited him. Style. Style bonus, plus 10%. Chapter 6. Rage controls you unless you control rage. Well, yeah, you can say that about anything, though. You can say that about alcohol, or any sort of addiction or emotion. That's ridiculous and completely redundant. Owen followed Imric through the tunnels, keeping a wary eye out for any undead. He examined the axe. So you're not really looking for undead if you're examining the axe, are you? He thought, by the runes... Okay, there's runes on the axe. That the dwarves might have made it, but it glowed, so it might have been made by magical means. Dwarves and magic? It didn't seem to make any sense. Oh, well, that's not the only thing. He also felt stronger while he held the axe, that he never grew hungry or It's only been a couple of minutes while they were walking through the blackness. Or has it been longer? As they turned a corner, Owen could see a light ahead. It was not natural, or made by a torch. It was pink. Owen decided to take a... How many pink lights are there going to be down here? Ilion? He called out. The glow came closer. Owen, came a familiar voice. It was Ilion and Sven. We thought you had perished with the others. Everyone else is dead. Everyone... Oh, so Bobbin. Is it Bobbin? Bobbin's dead. I don't think we care. Did anybody care that Bobbin's dead? You know, Arwen, Bobbin, they're just dead. You know. No. Oh, wait, no. We thought you had perished with the others. No, said Owen, smiling. No, of course, he's Owen, isn't he? Right. He realised it was the first time he had smiled since his brother's death. Okay, that's a neat thing. That's a neat thing. And, you know, these little glimmers of things that are half decent are in there. They just take a lot of digging to find. It'll take more than a bunch of old bones to see me through. And a vampire with magical axe. Imric! Leon shouted when she saw him. Quiet, said Sven. Quiet! All of you, be quiet! You've got a big mouth for someone so small. Elowen ignored him, but quietened down. So she didn't ignore him. Because she's quiet. Well done, Owen. Where did you find him? You don't know? Owen asked, surprise. Yeah, obviously. Because she knows everything. I've been wounded. I've used some of my magic to heal myself. Only my knowledge had been affected. How did you get away? Long story. Let's just say I went for a swim. You? We ran off, said Sven. But I didn't want to. She... Owen! No, he's... Owen! Sven gazed at Owen's axe. That's the axe of Tigana. That's actually not taken from Warhammer, I think. How did you get it? I got it off Manfred. You've killed Manfred? Aye. It's just like all this things happening. It's like this revelations in the shortest like sentence possible. Aye, said Owen. And what of this axe, Sven? It's a magical axe forged eons ago by a forgotten race. While you have it, you will not starve, thirst, your wounds will heal only a few hours after every fight, and your skill in battle is doubled. Oh, I love that. And your skill in battle is doubled. It's just doubled. So, you know, it's doubled. I mean, it's like, what, it's a +8 then or something? It's like... How would that work? I'm trying to think, like, you know, in Dungeons and Dragons, like how would that, you know, your skill is doubled? I don't know. Is it like double all your stats? That's pretty amazing. That's one damn good axe. But yeah, you don't starve or thirst. It heals you, so it completely just like keeps you, you know, alive, and it makes you a complete badass. Owen looked at his left hand. It was almost healed. Because he scraped it on the way down, didn't he? He tried to keep the smile off his... Now he just can't stop smiling. Come, said Owen. Let's go. Imric says... Go, interrupted Ilion. No, I came here for another reason. I shall kill Arkan the Black. Who's coming with me? Why? Well, I get why, but, you know... Arkan's obviously sat here for quite a while. I mean, he had time to make the skull place. in time to collect the skulls. So why at this point must she go, no, actually, I'm going to go and kill Arkan? Who can't Owen go, actually, he's not there. Oh, I didn't see him. So, you might as well, let's just cut our losses and go. Maybe he will, hang on. Go, interrupt. Okay, so who's coming with me? Oh, so she's asking them for more. It's like, I'm no warrior, said America. The quest is done, said Sven. He's right. The quest is done. So why would she ask them? It's like, Clause 22 of the contract states that you should also kill Arkan. You didn't read the small print? Test. Sven's right, said Owen. Come on, we came here to rescue Imric, and we have. Okay, true. I can understand why you don't want to come, but I have sworn a secret oath. Oh, there we go with the freaking oaths again. Very well, said Owen. But I swear, here we go again, that if you die, I shall avenge your death. Why? You don't even know her, and you're already busy trying to kill your bloody, snitch for killing your brother. You've already sworn that oath, which I get, and it's the whole thing behind the whole thing, but you don't even know this person. You've known her for a day, and I swear I shall avenge your death. A pointless oath, Owen, for I shall not die. For I will not die. With that, Ilion set off towards the Chamber of Skulls while the others looked for a way out. There's so much wrong with that. It's incredible. So much wrong with it. Chapter 7. Outfought, outclassed, outdone. Right, okay. A pink glow entered the Chamber of Skulls. Ilion saw the body of Manfred first. It was in several pieces. Fair enough. She saw a table, and with her acute eyesight, she saw the figure at the back of the chamber sat on a black throne. Welcome, Ilion. Arkan's voice hissed. Arkan, said Ilion. Looking as ugly as ever, I see. You may one day look like this, Ilion. If I do, it will be far in the future. This is goddamn awful dialogue. Just cut it all. Cut it and start again. Just delete this. And then just start fighting. I mean, for God's sakes. Awful, 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 awful. It'll be far in the future. The future may not be as far away as you would like. A bolt of crimson fire shot from the skeleton's eyes straight at the fairy, but the fire went out before it reached her. You are strong, hissed. Okay, so I guess you put it out with a counter spell. Thanks for, explain that. Just one. So if Arkan's there in the Chamber of Skulls, and this is the same place that Manfred got cut to pieces and stuff, what the hell was he doing? Why was he... What? I mean, was he there? We might find out. And if so, why did he just watch this barbarian stroll in and hack up Manfred and then rescue Imric and do bugger all about it? I mean, that just seems so unbelievably stupid that I must have something written. I pray to God I got something written to counteract that. Anyway. But the fire went out before it reached her. You are strong, hissed Arkan. Strong enough to avenge my family's death. Yet again, vengeance, oaths. Every single person is like, I must avenge you and stuff. She turned into a blue fireball and threw straight at the undead lord. Arkan caught the fireball with his skeleton hand. It turned back into a fairy. I think not. He began to crush her. Oh, that went well. Ilion shot forth a brilliant, bright white light from herself. Arkan screamed and clasped his eyes with his hands. When the light had vanished, the fairy was nowhere to be seen. Where are you, you little insect? Okay, best line of the entire book so far. At that moment, a skull rushed from the wall and slammed into Arkan's back. He fell to the floor and could do nothing but watch as all of the skulls in the chamber fell onto... Oh, this is before Lord of the Rings, by the way, with the extended bit in the third film, with all the skulls and stuff. He fell to the floor and could do nothing but watch as all the skulls in the chamber fell on top of him and around him. Ilion came out of the skull she was hiding in. She could not see Arkan at all. You buried him in skulls. My revenge is done. She said, don't be so sure. I gotta say, it's just a pile of skulls, man. Elion turned and did not see nor hear Icon raised from typical bloody. I'm going to turn away now for no reason. I'm not going to check. I'm not going to pummel the frickin' pile with fireballs now. I am just going to turn away for no reason. Did not see or hear Icon. Again, a coincidence raised from the skulls. How do you not hear it? Obviously, the skulls are just tipping over each other and they're all crushed, and it's not going to be bloody quiet. Him getting out of that thing, is it? And she was overcome with joy and relief. Arkan took a skull, sprinkled some magic powder on it. He had time to do that, and hurled it at Elion. The skull rolled on the floor, and Elion was trapped inside. She could do nothing but watching horror as Arkan placed his foot on top of the skull. The way is long, the way is hard, and there is always... Is this the end of the book? But there is always an end. Yeah, well, there is. I could incorporate that into modern day Iiosia. The way is long, the way is hard, but there is always an end. Because there is. I mean, that isn't true. But where was Arkan? Where the hell was he when Owen strolled in there? Because he could have just, blitzed him with that death bolt attack that he did. Because Owen didn't know he was there, so... I mean, how convenient that he either wasn't there or did nothing. How utterly convenient and completely unrealistic. Celebrations began as soon as the people saw the prince. Owen and Sven were taken to the palace, though they were not permitted to see the king. A messenger expressed his deepest thanks. Oh, okay. From the king. They were fed. Not that Owen ate anything because of his acts. Yeah, he didn't need to eat anymore. He found that he didn't need to sleep. Oh, I don't need to sleep either. It was like a drug which provided him with strength and energy. That's kind of dangerous, I gotta say. So you're just constantly wired. Constantly you don't need to eat or drink or sleep. And you're like, I'm so strong. I know, that actually can't be good for you, I'm gonna say. People also celebrated the death of Manfred. And look forward to the news of Arkan's death. For Owen told those who asked what happened. I'm sure someone would have asked what happened. Kind of interesting. What happened in the, Arkan's place. Some also mourned the death of Bobbin and Arwen, obviously close friends, although they were consoled by the fact that they died bravely. Obviously close friends? Who were? Whatever that is, it is not obvious. None of these people seem like friends, although they were consoled by the fact that they died bravely in battle. Well, they didn't, because Arwen frickin' ran away and got cut in two by a skeleton scythe. Owen didn't say that Arwen was running away at the time because it wasn't like him. There you go. Because it wasn't like him. Yeah, he's not a complete and utter total dick. It's like, oh, your friend Arwen? Yeah, she died. Oh, did she die well? No, she was running away and got cut down like a little bitch. Just, it wasn't like him. Yeah, that's good of him. He's such a swell guy, isn't he? A few days later, a few people began to worry for Eowyn. Most of all, Owen and Sven. For there should have been word by... I like how they're worrying most. The people who have met her maybe like a day before she died were the people who cared the most that she hadn't come back. Perhaps she had got lost. She had said her knowledge had been affected, or she had been injured and unable to fly. Fairies don't walk very fast. I'm sure that the second one makes more sense. Maybe she had been taken captive, or worse, but neither Owen or Sven wanted to spoil the jubilant mood that nearly everybody was in. Nearly everyone. On the third day of celebrations, a massive row of tables was laid in the streets, with food and drink upon them. Everybody in the city turned out for the party, apart from Owen, who doesn't need to eat or drink, by the way. Then, when it was about midday, the dancing around the table stopped and people all around screamed. Guards went to see what was the matter. Owen learned that he wasn't there. Her body, Elion's body, had been dropped from the sky by an undead carrion bird into a massive soup bowl. Owen immediately told Sven he would go back. Okay, so she's dead. Cool. Why doesn't he make her a vampire? I mean, the idea of it is good. That her body's delivered like that. as a message, that's a good idea. Again, just dropped in the sky with an energy ball. That's it. You know, be more. You know, it would work better if the characters were there and that it happened and they were shocked by it, rather than just learning it secondhand. And I'm going back there now. Look, he's going back. "You are a fool, Owen!" shouted Sven. "I gave her my word. She's dead. So is my brother. He is family. She was my friend." Was she? I mean, what did you know about her? I mean, friends. Bestest buds they were. Bestest buds. That's entirely different. Why? Sven paused. Well, she wasn't actually your friend, Owen. You just met her. You owe her nothing. You knew your brother, I'm assuming, for quite a long time. You obviously had a great lot of love for him being your brother. So his death would bring about a much more emotive response than the death of a fairy you barely knew. That's what you should say, Sven. That's what you should tell him. And Owen might go, "Yeah, actually, you're right. Let's just not do that." What about Owen's reward? What is all this about going back? I mean, she said, when we get back, or when you get back, you'll learn about Snitch's whereabouts. Well, where's that? Why is he not bothered? Why is he not asked? Why is nothing going on with that? Because it's not part of the plot right now, because he has to go back and face Arkan. Sven paused. He knew that the stubborn barbarian wouldn't change his mind. "Should I come?" "I didn't ask you to." And with that, Owen stormed off prepare. What a dick! "They know you're coming!" Sven shouted down the corridor. "I know." Oh, he's just such a... "I didn't ask you to." What a petulant little git he is, honestly. He asked. It's like, I didn't ask you to. It's okay, man. Thanks, but I gotta do this on my own. I didn't ask you to. Chapter 9, there is no time for talk, only for action. These are taking on more of a relevance to the story, becoming less philosophical, which is makes sense because obviously I wasn't very philosophical when I was 15, and indeed I'm not now. That's why I don't do this stuff anymore. It took many days, but Owen found the lair. Why? You knew where it was. He knew that undead would guard the entrance, but he knew a back door, the hole which overlooked the ice pool. See, this is good. This is good. He knows a back way in, and so he's going to use it to attack. That's good. Again, nice little touches, nice little ideas in there that just get completely just covered over with the muck of everything else. If he couldn't climb down the sides of the cavern, then he would have to try something else. That was why he had taken grappling hooks and rope. He looked over the pool. He reminded himself not to go swimming again. He wore leather armor. He'd never wear chainmail again. Yeah. He'd never wear chainmail again. And he had a strap made so that his axe could be carried on his back. Okay. Owen got a secure hold with the hook, and he threw the rope down the hole. All right. It didn't quite reach the water, but just dangled above it. Excellent, he thought. Now he wouldn't have to cut it. This is all pointless and really just... This is all detail that we don't need. Just tell us that he just abseiled down, because that's all we need to know. There's a lot of stuff in here, that we don't need to know that I go into great detail about, like what Bobbin was wearing, and he dies a chapter later, but I don't go into any detail about the stuff that does matter, like, I don't know, maybe the plot. The barbarian lowered himself down until he was a few feet from the water, and he began to swing towards the bank, away towards, closer and closer he swung. He got as the swing increased. Then he took a deep breath and let go as he was near the bank. The barbarian, yeah, so he's doing like a pendulum. The barbarian flew for a moment, fell and rolled. He didn't get wet this time. Oh, fantastic. That's brilliant. He didn't bother with a torch. His senses were in... Oh, so he can see in the dark as well. Why do I get the feeling as soon as he's in a sort of situation that requires, some sort of inconvenience for him, his axe will solve it. He's got the axe. It's all right. He ran into the tunnel and followed the arrow marks he had made... and his last visit to this evil hole. He easily found the chamber of skulls. It was not how he had left it. So, yeah, okay, the skulls which were once on the walls and ceiling were now all over the floor. About 9 in 10 of them were also broken. He could now see the original walls. They were smooth marble. Who cares? He could also see the black skeleton in black armor with the black sword sitting on the black throne. Okay, obviously the black is I'm sure that's intentional. The black skeleton, the black armor with the black sword and sitting on the black throne. You are clever, Owen. Clever for your Neanderthal barbarian, the Lord said. The Lord. And I'm strong. I have skill. And I also have the axe of Together. Actually, I think that's a lot to do with your strength and skill right now. Yes, I know. You shall be a worthy adversary, but you shall soon join my undead ranks as my lieutenants. Lieutenant. Yeah. Okay. Okay, this isn't so bad. Okay, it's pretty bad. Alright, so he's there. So yeah, Arkan's actually gonna, I'm sure Arkan was just we shall see, Arkan. Indeed we shall. Arkan rose and drew his sword. I really want to know why Arkan didn't do anything the first time. Or where he was when Arkan came here before. Like, where the hell was he? And what was he doing? The undead as a king now, came slowly on, raised his black rune sword and hurled it at Owen. Hurled it? The barbarian had not expected this and raised his axe to deflect the sword from its path. Okay, he just chucked his sword at him. That's interesting. It worked, but the sword snapped. The axe wouldn't haft in two, making it a one-handed weapon. Oh, yeah. Oh, of course, you can just wield it in one hand now. It's a great, big, massive axe, but because it's so, you've imbued your strength, you could use it as a one-handed weapon, which makes you wonder why it was a two-handed weapon in the first place. Arkan's sword lay at his feet. So Owen reached down and picked up with his left hand. Immediately he was filled with pain. He dropped the sword and looked at his hand. The flesh was rotting away. He stood up. Blimey! Bloody hell! That's good. I mean, that is really just not something that you would expect. That's nice. Okay, so we've got a twist. Okay, we have a twist in the story. Well, at least as far as twist goes in this. Ha-ha, Owen! That was the mistake I made. The sword is cursed, and soon you will be like me. Owen looked at Arkan. No, he screamed. He raised his axe and brought it down on his own hand. Owen's cry could be heard throughout the corridors and passages, throughout Arkan's lair. Arkan sighed. Unless you do that, he said. Oh, come on. Come on. No. No. Owen hurled his axe across he just cut his hand off! How's he going hurling axes across the room when he just cut his bloody... The Lich Lord... Okay, now he's a Lich Lord. Was still shocked at what Owen had just done and had not expected to counterattack. No! Because it's physically impossible. He's going into shock. The axe bit through the armor, through the bone and sliced Arkan's arm clean off. It seems we're even. Arkan said mockingly, for he felt no pain. Oh, for God's sakes. Owen felt himself losing consciousness. Not quite. Came a voice from behind. Owen looked around to see Sven standing there, dripping wet. Sven! Gasped Owen. How? No time. Listen, put your hand into that water outside. I'll deal with what's that gonna do? I'll deal with Boney here. Bloody Boney. Owen clasped his hand close to his body and ran down the chamber. He reached the water and shoved his hand in. It was even colder than before, and the cold shot right up his arm. Owen gritted his teeth and the pain why don't you just hold your axe? I mean, why did you throw your... Maybe the axe lacks the healing power. For once, it can't do something to actually heal like a broken, a slice off an amputation. Basically, it's not good enough to heal that. Amazingly, but putting it in water that solves it. He took his hand out and saw that the stump had healed. What? The stump had healed. The bleeding had stopped, and the wound looked as if it had happened years ago. I'm actually just staring, disbelieving at the page. Sven staggered out behind him, carrying 2 rune axes. Yours, I believe, he said, and handed an axe to Owen. An axe. He saw the look on the barbarian's face. The water is magical, just like everything else these days. It's called Thorkinson's, I can go wrong, water of healing. Sven grinned. Won't do Arkan any good now, though. So it just happens. It just happens to be a massive pool of healing water just outside the cave where the undead lord is. Isn't that amazing, guys? I mean, what luck. What utter luck that there would be a healing pool that could, you know, solve this problem of his cutting off his hand. I understand the cutting off hand bit. This is the best I... Okay. Alright, so there's a healing... Yeah, Thorkinson's water of healing. It won't do Arkan any good, though. Thank you, Sven. Oh, I guess Arkan's dead. Yeah, because it's... Okay, so... I don't know, like, so Arkan's... So the two axes... Where do I get the other axe? Or is one... I'll just keep reading. Thank you, Sven, said Owen. I'm in your debt. I swear, enough of you and your infernal swearing. I else got you into this mess. Okay, fine. Again, this is probably the most sensible thing that anybody has said this entire book. Revenge is sometimes all you have left. Oh, is that... Have I used that one twice? And if so, was it on purpose? Let me just... It is! Look at that. This is chapter 11 of the first book. Revenge is sometimes all you have left. So I've used it twice. So I wonder whether I will use it throughout the... Okay, this is... Oh, we're done. Revenge is sometimes all you have left. They went back to the capital Restore and told Imric that they had slain Arkan. The king had died while they were gone, but this was the least of their worries. Were they even worried at all? They were rewarded with a chest of gold. Do you know where Snitch is? Asked Owen to Imric. We know that the Cloak of Shadows is to the east, but whether Snitch is wearing it, we cannot tell. That's it! That's your reward. After all that, after, you know, cutting your freaking hand off and saving the entire kingdom, it's like, well, we know the cloak's to the east. We don't really know if he's wearing it, but, you know. But surely if he wasn't wearing it, you'd be able to find him. Or at least, oh, well, of course, she's dead, isn't she? So never mind. Then I'll go east, said Owen to himself. To the east is the fortress of Karagvia. Again, it's taken straight off Warhammer, said Sven. I'm going there. That's handy. Will you accompany me? You might find something about Snitch. That's the idea, Sven. There's also a good weaponsmith who can fix you up with something for your arm. Owen looked at his short friend. Oh, good, now they're friends. I've been alone too long, Sven. Yes, I will accompany you, if only to get rid of this stump. And so, Sven on his pony, Owen on midnight, they rode to the east. Owen still sneaking Snitch and his revenge. The end for now. That is more what I thought these stories were like. I was sort of vaguely impressed with the first story. There was a lot of it that I would obviously change, but and there was immaturity, but there was a lot of good stuff. There was a lot more good stuff in the first story than there was in this one. And again, this is more the sort of thing that I thought I was writing, and I'm glad to say that I remembered correctly, because that was, I mean, it speaks for itself, really. That wasn't really so good at all. Yeah, the plot was just, it made no sense, and the quest they went on made no sense, and it just didn't make any sense. And Arkan just kind of just wasn't there, or didn't do anything when Owen came in and butchered Manfred, and just, you know, whisked Imric out of there. I mean, what was Arkan's plan after that? Because he was still all like, "Oh yeah, I'm really awesome." Killed the fairy. I don't know. That was shocking. That was really, really bad. Really, really, really bad. I hope that this video I can actually check. Actually, this video was just an hour, so I'll cut it short now. It's been good. I mean, it's been fun. I want to continue with this. I hope you guys will watch the others. Battle for Karagvia is the next episode. So yeah, give me your thoughts. I'd really like to hear what you guys think of the story and everything. I mean, you know, obviously it's not going to be good, but I'd love your insight into this sort of thing. And I really, hope that you enjoyed my company for this past hour, and hopefully you'll enjoy the other 2 books that are after this one. And, as sequels, if it's going to follow sequels, they're going to get worse and worse, but we'll have to see, won't we? So, yeah, first book wasn't so bad, I suppose, relatively speaking. This one, just awful. Alright, I'm going to go. Cheers for watching, and I'll see you when I next see you. Toodaloo.